morning, sports fans. Well, it's a pretty bright day, and heading north by way of Savannah, Georgia. That's where our first stop is, and we're going to be taking you along. So we'll see you down the road. Well, friends, this is our favorite Buc-ee's. This one's just outside of St. Augustine. It sports 104 fueling stations and 55,000 square foot of convenience store. They have 22 types of fudge, 20 types of jerky, 70 flavors of fountain drinks. Wow, and 12 variety of ice. Yeah, 12 different varieties of ice. Unbelievable. They do not allow 18-wheelers. There's no refueling for those here, so it's strictly cars. And let me tell you, this place is busy. Really busy. Well, we spent our money at Buc-ee's. Fuel, we filled up the old GMC with fuel. A little cheaper here at Buc-ee's in most places. Had the famous Buc-ee's brisket sandwich. It's huge, and it is good. One of the best I've ever had. Well, we're heading we start on Highway 4, now we're on 95, and we're heading north on 95 right now into Savannah, Georgia. Savannah's got a population, about 150,000 people, I believe, in the city proper. Savannah, Georgia was established in 1751. In early December 1864, they peacefully surrendered to the Union's North in order to save the town. And boy, I'm thankful they did, because it's a beautiful town to visit. We'll be staying at the Holiday Inn Express. And here we are. It's only a couple blocks from the river, which is where all the action really starts. And here we are, down at the River Street. Now, I do believe that the port here in Savannah, it's either the second, I believe the second, now I may be wrong, it may be the third, but I believe it's the second most busy port on the East Coast. Now, a year ago we were here, we were actually here a couple of times, but a year ago I was here and filmed, and went into more detail here on the city. This is a chart house, sits here in the corner. It's one of our favorite restaurants. You see down there, you go down the cobblestone and you reach the water, the river. These hills you can't see from here, but they're pretty steep. All these buildings here on the left along the water originally had something to do with cotton, most of them. Cotton warehouses and so forth. Here we're out on the entryway to the chart house, and you oversee River Street. And it was pretty busy. It got busier as the evening wore on. We're kind of early. Our reservations, I believe, were 6 o'clock. This place will fill up a little later. Three floors of seating. What happened to that? Well, we walked on down to there to where you catch the trolley. And we're going on a ghost tour again. I have found that trolleys during the day, hop on and hop on off trolleys here, are the best way to really see the town. Ride all the way around on the first go, and then mark on the map where you want to stop, what you want to see, and it's a great tour. In the evening, you take the ghost tour. Now, it's not a hop on or hop off. And I'm going to shut up here a little bit, and I'm going to show you and let you listen to part of this. I think that during the day, you get a good history of the city. At night, you get the dirty history of the city. Quite different. Now, I'm not going to let you listen to the whole story, every story they do, because then you wouldn't want to go on the tour.
And business was the Tidewater Oil Company. Business was good, but although business was booming, there's always a few troublemakers in the mix around. Let me tell you about Hank. Hank, lamp shattered, the oil ignited, and soon the entire warehouse went up in flames, along with the entire east end of River Street. It was a total loss, but thankfully, no injuries were reported and no deaths were listed. Except one. Y'all want to guess who died? That they experienced all of that. Their alarm was beeping at a crazy hour they didn't set it to, and they smelled a strange smell in their room. Crazy, right? But y'all, I want to direct your attention. Now, is anyone here familiar with Ed and Lorraine Warren? A few of you, okay. If you're not, it's fine. They're well known in the paranormal community. They were the first to investigate the Amityville horror case, and they inspired movies such as Annabelle and The Conjuring. They came to Savannah years ago, and they were granted permission to explore the usually forbidden upper floor of the Pirate's House. Ooh. But to help with their investigation, they asked for the assistance of a local medium. But on the night of the big day, the medium realized he was running late. So he called a friend to bum a ride. When he did arrive at the Pirate's House, he got out of the car, looked up at those upper floor windows. He saw 3 figures looking down at him from the windows. He thought the Warrens had started the investigation without him. So he rushed into the Pirate's House, only to find there was Ed and Lorraine waiting patiently on the first floor. As it turns out, the manager of the Pirate's House was running late as well, so they couldn't. I think it was JP. He always looks suspicious. Weren't you off that day? Birds and laughter coming from the tunnel. One day, a very curious employee did some investigating. He went down into the cellar, then through the underground tunnel. He went further and further into the darkness until he had to stop and turn around because the pathway was blocked by a bunch of rubble. But as he turned, he heard voices coming from the entrance restaurant, Miss Anna. We don't know too much about her, except she was a woman who came to Savannah, some say, for an arranged marriage, while others say, no. Miss Anna, she was a barmaid who fell in love with a sailor and didn't love her in return. Either way, no matter what her story is, it ends the same, with Miss Anna falling to her death from the window of room 204. Take a look on your left-hand side. By the way, if you haven't noticed, there's going to be plenty more puns on this tour. You guys okay with puns?
Okay.
Okay, good, okay, good. So poor Miss Anna, she stones and 12,000 bodies. It's very difficult to bury new bodies without disturbing old ones. So in 1853, the decision was made to open Laurel Grove Cemetery. Society of the Colonial Dames of America in the state of Georgia by the trustees of her estate. Oh, that's a long name, but that's who it was sold to. And since the 1950s, the home has operated as a museum during the daytime, and Leah Ghosts and Gravestones get the exclusive opportunity to explore the home in the evening hours. Yay us! So when we go inside, please note first and foremost, this haunted home is in fact a museum, so we must follow all standard rules. Firstly, please note.
Now this house,
Trust me, I know
we
because
toured during the
I've been
daytime,
historical sites.
the last time we were here. You can go back and look at that video.
So please do watch your
And the story's totally different. One's the history of the house, the other is the dirty history of the house.
We're just gonna gather around right
And Juliette Gordon both lived and passed away in that room. Mary passed away on that bed, 1863, after complications of childbirth. Juliette passed away in the corner overlooking the window of Lafayette Square, 1927. Ever since then, that room does seem to exude a certain sense of sadness, especially to those standing in the doorway. They sometimes report a heavy pressure on their chest, though many others attribute that to the stairs, which I say fair. But find shelter, so they make their way on up the stairs to investigate. Crying continues to get lit, soon they flee. And a couple weeks later, they're talking about the strange incident. When they come to the realization the day they heard that cry was June 17th. Also known as the most requested day off here. Now this blue room in front of me, that is the Styles bedroom, named after Miss Eliza Styles. Children left behind. However, her grandchildren were not the only ones put into her care while she lived here. Her husband, Colonel William Henry Styles, I do guess we're not working for him. Yeah, that's fair. They are very creepy. But on that note, you're more than welcome to join me across the hall. Setting up for the day. And later that morning, society members come up first. So maybe something will appear, maybe something will disappear. But if you are ready to go screaming in the night, have a lovely evening.
Here it is on our right-hand side. Isn't it gorgeous? Beautiful home, huh?
Yeah.
When you have a home as grand as this, you want to protect it, right? So he had a plan. He would hire an off-duty police officer to stand guard during the midnight hour.
As you may remember,
Stood on the rooftop.
we did a ghost tour in Key West. Of the two, I prefer the one in Key West. It's a lot more fun.
Until it wasn't. You see, one morning, after a particularly rowdy party the night before, the sentry didn't come down for breakfast. They thought, oh, he probably just fell asleep on upstairs. They sent the butler up to go fetch him. The butler climbed up the narrow staircase and opened the hatch to the roof, and he was a little surprised at how eerily silent it was up there. And then he turned, and his scream caught in his throat. There, he saw the sentry laying lifeless over the railing, a pool of crimson blood beneath him. He'd been shot in the back of the head. The sound of the previous night's festivities had muffled the sound of the gunshots. And to this day, that murder remains unsolved. This town, like Jack in the Box music getting loud all again and again. To this day, people who stay at that inn will often say that they hear the sound of a ball rolling down the stairs and children laughing. And we all know there's not a more comforting sound than the sounds today. Once stood the gallows, built to hang Savannah's first murderer. Now, how many of y'all here like murder stories? Anyone been binge watching Hulu and Netflix? I know there's more of us than that. Yeah, aren't they fun? I bet you're wondering. The first murderer in Savannah. Who was he? Who did he kill? Why did he kill? You're wrong in that assumption. It wasn't a man. It was a woman. Yay, girl power! Maybe. Alice Riley was her name. At her trial, Alice made the surprise announcement. I'm with child. Out of respect for the unborn, the colonies stayed the execution. And on December 21st, baby James was born. Alice held her baby for just a couple weeks. Before baby James was ripped away from her, they brought her back to Wright Square. And on January 19th, 1735, Alice became the first woman and first person in Georgia's history to be executed. What about Richard? He had escaped from jail, was on the run for months until he was recaptured and brought back to the awaiting gallows. Just one day after his beloved, on January 20th, Richard was executed as well. But to this day, Alice still shows herself out and about in Wright Square. She'll come up to women, usually tourists. Have you seen my baby? Have you seen my baby? James, where is he? Most people will call the police. There's a frantic woman in Wright Square looking for her baby James. The police have heard this phone call again and again and again. They know by the time they make it to Wright Square, Alice will be gone. They never ever catch her. So they send the rookies. Send them on a wild ghost chase. Can you imagine that? Now, one of my friends is a retired deputy sheriff, and I asked him about this. He said, you know what that phone call about? What's the fun? Isn't that crazy? It's about as exciting as this music. Yeah, y'all. Her will states, well, here's the Telfair mansion in front of us. Her will states that there shall be no eating, drinking, smoking, or any public exhibitions of any kind held on the Telfair premises, and any deviation from her rule would result in loss of the property. So they obeyed her provisions for many years, until they didn't. They decided to hold an art reception that served champagne. So as a take these 3 candles, and for 3 days light them, focusing solely on the death of their victim, neither eating nor sleeping. At the end of the 3rd day, when the 3rd candle went out, the quality relics that are inside the chamber. But everybody, we've run into some traffic. You know what that means? That means you guys get a bonus story. You guys want a bonus story? Yeah. Okay, good. This is my favorite story, actually, and I don't normally get to tell it, so I'm going to tell it to you guys. Who here has seen The Princess Bride? Isn't it a fun movie? Yes. So, who here has also been to the Ships of the Sea Museum? Okay, that's okay. We actually passed it not that long ago. It's at a big mansion known as the Scarborough Mansion. Let me tell you a Scarborough family legend. It involves...
Now, when we came in here, we sat on wooden crates. And there were 3 ladies sitting kind of at a 90-degree angle from me, just to my left. At one point, the lights went out, and it was completely dark. I just went out real fast, and all of a sudden there was a very loud, really loud bang. The lady to my left jumped, screamed at the top of her lungs, and grabbed hold with both hands of my left leg. Well, she didn't break my left leg, but I could sure feel it. She apologized the whole tour, but I told her it was okay. I had a lot of fun. Enjoyed it.
Wonderful time. Well, everyone, we're nearing the end of our final. Actually, we have enough time for a final story. Want another bonus story? This one involves a question. What makes Savannah so haunted? Why are we haunted? Any guesses? Someone said the river? Yeah. Something
is spending one night here. And then we're moseying on further north. We're going to Charleston. We'll be spending 2 nights in Charleston. So stay tuned next week, and we'll post the video on Charleston. See you down the road. Oh, and don't forget, please subscribe.